Hello, Connie Nickel here today with Creative Scrapbooker magazine and another technique taster. Today I wanted to show you how I made these beautiful cards using a variety of Stampers Anonymous products. These beautiful flowers and butterflies are made out of modeling film, which is kind of a craft plastic, and a variety of Stampers Anonymous stamps and stencils. So to begin with, I'm just going to protect my work surface with a Ranger craft mat. And I'll start with a rectangle of watercolor paper. You could also use just a piece of cardstock, especially if it's a heavier type of cardstock that won't buckle too much if it gets wet. So I'm going to add color with Distress Oxide inks and an assortment of stamps and stencils. So we're going to get something that looks like pattern paper, but we've created it ourselves very quickly. So Bundled Sage is one of my favorite colors of Distress ink. I just love it. So I'm just going to swipe some ink onto my watercolor paper and spritz it with a little bit of water. So the beauty of these distress inks is that they're water reactive, so you can do all kinds of fun things. So I'm just going to move my ink around, get more of a watercolor look, soften these lines. And then we'll just set it aside to dry. So when our paper is dry, we can add some more depth and texture using stencils and stamps. So this is one of my favorite Stampers Anonymous stencils, and I'm just going to use a Ranger foam applicator and dab on a little bit of Distress ink in Ice Spruce. So as you can see, the effect can be quite subtle, but it just kind of all adds to the total card. We'll do the same thing with a stamp. This is a script stamp from Stampers Anonymous. So just dab a little bit of ink on it. And then just randomly add some script to your background. Okay, so we'll set that aside and we will make the flowers for the front of the card. So the first step is stamping onto our modeling film. So you can see here's a piece of it. It's thicker than a transparency and it's very flexible, but it's still very easy to cut with scissors. So to stamp, I am going to use a Tonic Holtz stamping platform. And stays on solvent ink. This is the best ink to solve on plastic because it's not going to rub off. And we'll stamp some flowers from the Flower Garden collection from Stampers Anonymous. So the stamps have a tendency to stick to the plastic, so if you need to restamp, it's a really good idea to tape your plastic down to the stamping platform to make sure it doesn't move when you're lifting the stamp up. So we'll just give that a minute or two to dry to make sure the ink is completely 100% dry. I usually leave a little piece of washi so I know which side I have stamped on, because you want to color on the back side of your stamped image. So I'll flip it over and I'm going to color it with Sharpies because this is what I have on hand and I want a nice red poppy, but you could use any kind of alcohol marker. If you have a chameleon pen or Copic markers would work pretty well. Whatever you have handy. Now once your coloring is finished, you can just cut it out with a pair of scissors. I've tried the thin dies and they don't always cut all the way, so they usually need some help with scissors anyway. It's not hard to cut with the scissors, they work really well. So once you've finished cutting out your stamped and colored flower, the next step is going to be to shape it with a little bit of heat. And the nice thing about this is you can heat it, shape it. If you don't like it, heat it again. It's infinitely changeable until you get the shape that you want. So I've just got a heat gun here. And then as it cools, it retains that shape. So you can try the different flowers, the different insects. Put it on the background that we've prepared with a couple of stems, and you've got a very quick and easy card. Ranger Glossy Accents is a really good adhesive to adhere these plastic embellishments onto cardstock because it dries clear, you can't see it. And just a little tip, if you are cutting and coloring insects or other intricate stamps that have a lot of legs and antennae, I just cut right past them and then draw the little fiddly bits back in with a fine tip black pen. So for this card I used a zebra ClickArt black pen just to draw your antennae back in. So that's the technique for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and follow us on YouTube. Bye for now.